So Seth, thank you so much for joining us today and being willing to take the time to share some information about what you do, which is insurance for apartments. Would you mind please telling us a little bit about yourself and what you
Sure.
do?
Sure. Thanks for having me, Carolina. My name is Seth Hochman. I'm an insurance agent broker. My office is right here in New York City. I'm an independent agent, which means I represent over 40 different insurance companies. So I'm able to provide competitive price insurance, appropriate insurance, whatever is right for you, my client. That's what I'm able to do.
Great. Do you specialize in sales or rentals, or do you do both?
Yeah, so my business is let's just say a matrix. I do homeowners insurance, renters insurance, co-op, condo, car insurance, jewelry insurance, business insurance, all types of what is known as property and casualty insurance. So I can insure your home, your office, your business, your employees, all of the above.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Yeah, so you and I were connected by a colleague that we have in common. And actually, I reached out to him because there was an immediate need for somebody who is a renter who needed insurance at the time. And, she just started jumping online, trying to do Lemonade and these other services. And I thought it'd be much better to have a connection with somebody one-to-one that can actually take somebody through the process. So would you mind, since we're bringing up other companies or the process through which people go through, would you take us through what a client usually does when they first engage you?
Sure.
How long is the process and what does it include?
Absolutely. So yes, the difference between going online as opposed to speaking with an insurance professional is you will be getting the right insurance when you speak to an insurance professional like myself. So for example, when a new client reaches out to me for renter's insurance, okay, I know that most landlords today are requesting renter's insurance and they won't even turn over the keys without proof of insurance. That's one part of the requirement. The other thing is the customer is actually paying to protect themselves. That's the reason to have insurance, whether you're renting or buying. So as far as renting is concerned, a typical renter's insurance policy protects you a few ways. First off, all of your personal property would be covered under the renter's policy in case of a fire, water damage, or even theft. So these are the type of questions I would ask the client. Where are you going to be living? How much would you estimate the value of all of your personal property is? And then I'll get an idea of how much insurance they need. And the phone call itself just takes a few minutes.
Okay. And then are you able to provide a quote for people immediately, or does it take a few hours?
Yeah, it could take anywhere from, let's say maximum 1 or 2 hours. That's it. Because what I look to do is go out to different insurance companies to get the most competitive price for my client. So I may go to more than one carrier, which of course I will. And then I reach back out to the insured, either through phone, text, email, whatever is the most convenient way they would like to be connected with at that point. And that's what I do.
Great. And the insurance is usually good for whatever the length of the lease term is, correct?
Well, it's normally good for 1 year. So it's a 12-month period. So if the lease is longer than 12 months, at the end of the 12 months, the insurance will renew for another 12-month term.
Okay. So do people usually do you usually reach out to people so they renew? Is there an automatic thing that?
Yeah, in most insurance companies, it's an automatic renewal. So this way, there's a customer doesn't have to worry that there was a gap in their insurance. Hey, I didn't know, I forgot. They're automatically covered.
Great. Is it somehow associated with the address or with the client? So if the client moves, does it matter? Do they have to get a different new policy?
Great question. So yes, the insurance is specifically for the individual or individuals who are going to be living in the apartment to that specific address. So at the end of a 12-month term, for example, if someone were to move to another apartment building in Manhattan or Brooklyn or wherever, you would just have to just send me a one-line email saying, hey, Seth, effective May the 1st, here's my new address. And we just transfer the insurance to the new location. It's that simple.
Oh, okay, that's pretty simple. Now, in the case of roommates, which we actually see a lot of in the renting world, especially in New York, do you just get one policy for everybody in the house, or does everybody should get their own?
No, you're absolutely right. As long as each roommate's name is on the lease, which it usually is, we just include all the names on the same insurance policy.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, so it makes it's more economically advantage to share the cost of the insurance amongst 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, depending on how many people, how many roommates are in the apartment.
Yeah, generally speaking, and I'm sure I can cut that. Generally speaking, and I'm sure that this is gonna vary tremendously, so I won't, nobody's gonna pin you down to this, but what would you say is the average cost of a single person going into 1-bedroom apartment in Manhattan?
Good question. I get that a lot. I mean, every single day. So if this is the first time you're going to be renting and it's a typical 1-bedroom apartment, what drives the price of insurance is how much property, how much contents do you want to insure? So that's what'll basically determine the price of the insurance. There are some other factors, but the primary factor is how much of your personal property that you're going to bring into the apartment is going to be insured. So I usually tell clients, figure to be appropriately insured, it can be anywhere between $300 a year to $500 a year max. And in very simple terms, you then have the option to paying that monthly, or you can pay it in a lump sum annually. So what it comes down to is, it equates to anywhere between $1 to $1.50 per day is the cost of insurance. If you spread it out over the whole year.
Okay.
So it's less than riding the subway. It's less than a cup of coffee, and yet you'll have full coverage.
Yeah. Now, quick question. Is there ever a case where people overestimate the value of what they own? Like what happens then?
So great question, because what happens is when someone comes to me and they say, yes, I want to have insurance, and I'll ask, once you move in, what do you estimate the value of all of your personal property? Meaning once you furnish the apartment, all of your clothing, pictures on the walls, electronics. So if someone comes to me and says, hey, I need $200,000 worth of insurance, I'll immediately say to them, what size apartment is this? Oh, it's a 1-bedroom. Yeah, listen, it's really hard to spend $200,000 for a 1-bedroom apartment. What are you planning on doing that's going to sort of inflate the price so much? And then they'll come back and they'll say, yeah, you're right, or thought about it. I only need 50,000 or 40,000, which is more than norm given the size of the apartment. Mm-hmm. So this way we make sure a typical client is not overpaying for insurance that they would never use.
Mm-hmm. Does anything have to be itemized, like electronics, or if they have, like, let's say they have, go ahead.
Items of jewelry, okay? So in a typical renter's or homeowner policy, items of jewelry need to be listed separately, okay? And then those items will be insured as well on the policy.
Okay.
All righty.
Now, they would be covered only in the event that something happens and the items are damaged for some reason, disaster of the apartment, not necessarily for theft or
no, on the contrary. So everything you bring into the apartment would be covered in case of a fire, water damage, or even theft. Okay, that's covered also under a homeowner's renter's policy. In addition, and I tell this to all of my clients, let's say you had a laptop computer with you, as an example, away from home, and the laptop were to be stolen. you would still be covered under your renter's policy.
Wow, that's great.
Mhm.
That's great to know. What do you think is the most helpful thing for people to know, seeing that you talk to people who are looking to get insurance every day? What do you think is the most common thing that people don't know besides what you've just outlined about the service or about the importance of working with somebody like yourself?
The other parts of renter's insurance that a typical person would not even think of is included. Example, let's say somebody walks into the apartment building, slips and falls and breaks their leg, and somehow decides, you as the tenant, it's your fault that I broke my leg. I'm going to sue you, right? Whether that lawsuit is correct or not, your renter's insurance policy will cover the cost of all the legal fees and everything associated with this lawsuit. That's included on a typical renter's policy. In addition, let's say by accident, you left the water running in your apartment. Not only did it cause damage in your unit, the water damage caused damage to the hallway, to the apartment next door, the apartment below you. And the landlord turns around and says, hey, Carolina, you caused $19,000 worth of damage to the building, pay up. You're covered under the renter's policy.
Okay.
Okay, so these are all reasons why you should have renter's insurance in New York, besides the fact the landlord says, hey, you must have it as part of the lease.
And a good renter's insurance. Because
Absolutely.
I think you and I discussed on the phone how, if you're just looking to get something so that the landlord will give you the keys, you might as well be throwing your money away.
Exactly right. Exactly. You're paying for the paper it's printed on, and that's it. So yes, by coming to an insurance professional and having the conversation, this 10-minute conversation maximum, making sure someone like me gets all the correct information, you should be getting the insurance that's appropriate for your situation and covers you accordingly. Absolutely.
Great. Great. This is all great information, Seth.
Well,
Thank you so much. Where can we reach you at?
So I have a website, www.hochmaninsurance.com. You could always reach me there. You can always reach me through my email address, hochmaninsurance@gmail.com. My office phone number, my cell phone number. I get calls all day long on my cell phone. So you can text me, whatever's easiest for anyone. That's how you find me. And we just go from there.
Thank you. I'll be sure to share your information in the slide at the end.
Well,
Thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me.